okay?
Like a reunion.
Is that what I think it is on your face? Come on. Yeah.
Let's be done with that. On April 6th.
High school was awesome.
This is you, right?
I swear I had these all taken down.
But then we graduated and everybody started getting married and all that other stupid crap. When you have a kid, you have to make your own alone time.
Michelle?
American Reunion, rated R.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Time About the Movies. No intro again this week, not because the movies are as bad as last week, but just doing a quick one here because I should have had one up last night, but I got home late from the Penguin game and had to put the video together, which was over an hour and a half long for Movie Stop this week, so I was tired too. I mean, I was out there all day long in Pittsburgh for the Pitt game and then the Penguin game, so that's why this is a little bit late. There'll be another episode later today. Actually, to be honest, I'm just coming out of bed. This is the shirt I was wearing when I was sleeping last night, but like I said, there'll be another episode later on in the afternoon, so stay tuned for that. But let's get through this really quickly, because we can get through these pretty quickly. We only have one new release and then a re-release of a classic movie, and we'll start off with the big new release for April 6, 2012. I should have told you what the date was, but first off, American Reunion. Over a decade has passed, and the gang returns to East Great Falls, Michigan for the weekend. They will discover how their lives have developed as they gather for their high school reunion. How has life treated Michelle, Jim, Heather, Oz, Kevin, Vicky, Finch, Stifler, and Stifler's mom? In the summer of 1999, it was 4 boys on a quest to lose their virginity, and now they're all grown up and now have families of their own. This is, of course, the 4th installment of the American Pie series, and I've liked the American Pie movies. I was looking forward to this when it came out, and when I came out of it, I really was let down by it. I really thought that I came into it really expecting the same fun I got with the other movies, but with this one, I just didn't see it in this one. I was really disappointed when I came out of this. It wasn't a bad movie, it wasn't a complete disaster, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And I'll start with the good things. For one thing, the cast is great. Sean William Scott and Eugene Levy, I think, really stole the show in this movie, especially Sean William Scott. I like how everybody is at where they are now, like Stifler. Like, with a guy like Stifler, you expect him to be, like, the top shit overall, but no, he's just like a mid-level temp at a law firm who gets bossed around, but I thought that was kind of a nice little twist of things, you know, turn the tide around, pretty much, like, the old switcheroo, if you want to call it that. I also thought some of the gross-out jokes actually worked out to the film's advantage. I like the fact that you see in the trailer there that even though Michelle is still a mother, she still can't get past, her urges and all that in the shower, like I thought in the bath. Like, I think that's really, really funny. The bad stuff starts to come in when they throw in subplots that I really didn't like. Like, I didn't like the whole thing about the babysitter wanted to sleep with Jim because it's something that just keeps going on, and there's no need for it whatsoever. And the worst part about it is, it's something that could have been wrapped up in 30 seconds. Jim could have just said, I'm married, I have kids, I can't do this. Because, yeah, he's married, he's got kids. Excuse me. He's married, he's got kids, he's grown up, I can't do this. But no, he doesn't bring it up at all, and just goes along with it. And that's really bugged me, because I know Jim is supposed to be kind of the wimp of the group, but there's points when he needed to grow some balls and toughen up, man. I mean, even in the original movies, he grew some balls and toughened up when he needed to, and showed everybody that he wasn't just a wimp. Like, he could take chances when anything he needed to, but also, I didn't like the fact that they forced a lot of random cameos from everybody in the group. They're inserted into the movie for no real reason whatsoever. Like, Shannon Elizabeth returns as Nadia in this movie, and she's literally just there for like 10 seconds, and it's just kind of like, it's that type of thing where, like, they'll show up randomly, and just like, oh, here's these characters, oh, here's that character. Like, there's no real reason for them to be in this movie, and it's just kind of like, I know I get you're trying to make amends for the fact that half of these people weren't in the last movie, but at the same time, you gotta throw them in there in a way that actually feels authentic. You're able to come up with main stories for the main characters, but you could have come up with other stories for the rest of the characters too. You can't just throw them in there and just be like, oh, hey, I'm here, bye, I'm gone now. And like I said, as much as I love the gross-out jokes here, I have to say, compared to what we've seen in Judd Apatow comedies up to this point, the raunchy humor in this can be really lousy. I mean, it might have worked before the Apatow films, but these movies managed to be both raunchy and funny, the original films did. It's been almost 10 years since the last American Pie movie, and this is the best you could do with it. You would think they would have stepped up their game a little bit here, but it's kind of the same type of raunchy humor from the first 3 movies. Probably my biggest squabble of the whole movie overall is the fact that it's written and directed by John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, who are not bad writers or directors overall, but these are the guys that wrote the Harold and Kumar movies at the helm of this and wrote the film. The problem is they haven't written any of the other American Pie movies, so why waste it? Why would you even bother not getting anybody from the original writing or directing crew to do this movie and make it feel authentic? I mean, even Scream 4 the year before had Kevin Williamson come back to write the script for it, but they couldn't even get somebody who wrote the first 3 movies or directed the 3 movies and knows these characters well. So we're just bringing these people who, yeah, they made the Harold and Kumar movies, but at the same time, it's not the same people who established this universe. That's basically my problem with the movie, is that it's a disappointment because it doesn't feel like it's made by the same people who gave the original American Pie movies the love that they had. But like I said, it's not a complete disaster. Sometimes it'll get a good funny moment here and there, and it's good to see these characters back, but I don't know what's going on with me today, but they could have given us something a whole lot better, considering how R-rated comedies have evolved since the last American Pie movie. And I really felt like they missed the mark on this one here. A disappointment to say the least. It's the one I watched the least. And, yeah, it deserves a lot better. Like, there should have been a whole much more effort put into this compared to the other movies. This one just didn't do the trick for me, So anyway, that's American Reunion. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here. A classic movie, which we can really briefly touch on this one here. Titanic is back in theaters in 3D.
Are you ready to go back to Titanic?
Because Paramount saw what Disney was doing with their 3D re-releases and said, hey, we can do this too. And we have it out here. You know, it's the 25th anniversary of Titanic, and it's our 100th anniversary as a studio, so we can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone with this one. That's pretty much why they did it, and yeah, do I really need to tell you what the plot of this movie is? In short, you know, we flash back to when the Titanic sailed, and we're following two different people of 2 different backgrounds. Leonardo DiCaprio, who's a street merchant, who's a street peasant, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. I just said that already. And he falls in love with a woman of richer values, played by Kate Winslet. And you know, their backgrounds keep them separated, but they can't get away from each other. They fall in love throughout the course of the movie, and their love takes to a whole nother level while the Titanic is sinking after hitting an iceberg. And of course, you know, I've touched on this movie before in the past, and really, there's not much more I could add to it per se, except the fact that it was released in 3D. And in a way, it probably would have benefited the movie to see it in 3D, because I think this would have looked pretty cool on a big screen in 3D with the technology that we've had that's been radically different since the original release of the film back in 1997, because not only do you get it in 3D, but you can also see it in IMAX too. This thing probably looks gorgeous in IMAX overall. Like I said before with the movie, I like it. I don't hate it per se, but it's a movie where, you know, as a kid growing up, I said it before, when I saw this in theaters for the first time, my first thought was, you know, okay, this romantic story is good, okay and all, but come on, get to the ship getting destroyed. And when the ship gets destroyed, that still holds up after all these years. As an adult, I've grown to appreciate more of the kids, the adults, at least the romantic subplot of it, which is done very well compared to something like Pearl Harbor, which tried to do the same thing, but it failed miserably. So, in a way, I like it more now as an adult, more than I did as a kid, but I'm not going to say it's one of James Cameron's best movies overall. I think he's made so many other better movies, like True Lies, and also the Terminator films, but I mean, the guy still knows what he's doing after all these years. I mean, even with the Avatar movies, they're still gorgeous to look at on the big screen, even if the story's a little, not really that impressive overall. But then again, the 3rd film's coming out this December, so hopefully that will change to, they'll actually add an element to the story where it doesn't feel like we're just rehashing the same movie again, but we'll see what happens there. But like I said, not much more to really add to this one per se. Titanic was back in theaters for 3D, and probably would have been a great 3D experience had I taken the time to see it, but I don't know, I was still in my time where I thought that, yeah, this movie wasn't for me, but No, I kind of regret it overall. I've had several chances to try to see this in 3D, but the time and scheduling just didn't work out for me. So, not much more to say about that one. That's Titanic in 3D.
They were abandoned and forgotten.
It's a shame they were never adopted.
Is that Sister Mary Mangle? I don't know, but the face rings a bell.
Now,
What's it gonna take to save this place?
A lot of this.
How many boogers we talking about?
the world
They haven't experienced anything.
Cats.
won't know what hit. The Three Stooges. Rated PG.
Remember when everyone thought this was going to be absolutely horrible, but it actually turned out to be really funny? Maybe that's just me thinking about it. But welcome to Time About the Movies. Once again, kind of rushing this one out here, so no intro. But we are taking a look today at the 3 films that came out on April 13, 2012. And we're starting off, of course, with The Three Stooges. This is, of course, based off the classic shorts of the mid-20th century comedy trio of the same name, and this is written and directed by the Farrelly brothers. It features Christy Amanatopoulos, Sean Hayes, and Will Sasso as Mo Howard, Larry Fine, and Curly Howard. The story is that they're in an orphanage, and the orphanage is about to close down, so they decide to go out to the open, into the real world, try to make as much money as they can, and go through your typical Three Stooges comedy sticks here and there. And I'm not gonna lie, like everybody else, I was looking at this and going like, this is gonna be really, really horrible. I mean, you had a trailer that looked pretty bad, and then you throw in the Jersey Shore in there, and it's just kind of like, come on, man. Like, but they always say, don't judge a book by its cover. This is one where you definitely don't want to judge the book by its cover, because it is really, really funny. It's a very good movie. It's probably one of the best Farrelly Brothers movie I've seen in a long, long time. Maybe, I'm trying to think, maybe not since, maybe Me, Myself, and Irene, perhaps? Although I did like Shallow Hal and also Stuck on You, but I mean, this is a return to form for the Farrelly brothers. I mean, this is a movie that was just prime for them. They knew what they were doing, and it made a really, really good, fun film overall. It got a huge mixed reception. Most people who really hated it, really hated it, but the people who liked it really liked it, and I'm in the liked it category. I mean, I found it to be surprisingly really funny. It's a great tribute to the old Three Stooges shorts, and not just the shorts, but Three Stooges materials. Like, the plot of the movie is pretty much the NES video game from the 80s, where, you know, the Three Stooges, essentially, they have to go and get money for the orphanage and all that. That was the premise of the video game. Like, I thought that was kind of fun that they brought in all these different elements in here. They did a great job paying tribute to the original shorts, and they got 3 top-notch performers to play these characters. Christy Amanatopoulos, Sean Hayes, Will Sasso. They meticulously captured the elements and spirits of the original Stooges and managed to provide a lot of really good, funny moments for everybody involved, especially with Diamantopoulos. I've always been a fan of his for a long, long time. He's been one of my favorite character actors. This is a guy that plays so many great roles in his career. I mean, keep in mind that not only is he Mo, but he's also the voice of Mickey Mouse in the 2010s Disney shorts, and he's essentially kind of been the other guy they go to when Brett Iwan can't do the voice of Mickey Mouse, and he just plays it so well. This guy is a terrific, terrific actor, and not only that, he was the old man in A Christmas Story Live. The Christmas Story Live was not that great, but the best thing about it was Diamantopoulos as the old man. Like, he's one of my favorite character actors, and he just knocks it out of the park with every performance he's in. This one, definitely of that, too. Yeah, this thing does also have elements I can't really stand. There's pee jokes, there's fart jokes, but they were really clever in making it work. They were smart enough to not let it be the main focal joke of the entire scene in particular. Just the scenario of what they're putting it in. There was actually a purpose to them being in there, and not just a cheap gag. It wasn't like that in this case. Even the thing with the Jersey Shore is very well done. Like, the people who are on the Jersey Shore were fully in on the joke and said, fuck it, we're just going to go ahead and go with it. And just like, they actually made it work. The fact that this movie was able to do that and make the Jersey Shore somewhat tolerable, I gotta give it points for that. Like, I gotta be very honest with you. This is a really, really damn good movie. This is definitely one of the best Farrelly Brothers movies I've ever seen. This is a funny film. If you go into it with a mindset and an open mind, you can have a really good time with it. It's a wonderful tribute to the Three Stooges. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I think it's a fun film overall. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely check it out, The Three Stooges. So with that said, let's go ahead and get on to the other really good movie that came out this weekend, which is The Cabin in the Woods.
Systems online. Acquiring target.
Oh, this is awesome.
Do we have temperature control in the center?
I'm just saying it's a key scenario.
We haven't had a glitch since '98.
If you have a confirmed kill, take her out too. We're running out of time!
The Cabin in the Woods, rated R, in theaters April 13th.
Now, for some people, that probably should have been the best way to sell the movie with the trailer, because the TV spot did a better job of selling that than the trailer did, which basically kind of spoiled the big twist in the movie, and the fact that, you know, this is basically a riff on, you know, a horror film a la Evil Dead or Friday the 13th, where you have a group of college students who retreat to a remote cabin in the woods where they fall victim to a variety of monsters, while technicians manipulate events from an underground facility for a global purpose. The trailer spoils this well, obviously in the trailer it does it, but it kind of takes away from the magic if you saw the trailer for it and you got kind of spoiled by it, but it doesn't take away from the overall movie in general. I think the movie overall is a really good movie, and it's interesting because this is actually one of the few times a movie has been sitting on the shelf at a studio for years, and it's actually really good. This thing was shot back in 2009. It didn't get a release until 3 years later. What actually happened was that they had, you know, it was originally supposed to be released in October of 2009, then it got pushed back to February 2010, and MGM and United Artists were going to release it, but they shelved it because of financial difficulties with those studios. Then Lionsgate picked up the rights in 2011 and actually showed at Bump Numbathon in 2011, and then in April of 2012, of course, it came out and eventually became the classic that it is, because it is a classic film. You have a cast that includes a lot of notable talents. Kristen Connolly, Chris Hemsworth, one of his big roles in... This is actually one of his earliest film roles. Keep in mind, this was before he was cast as Thor, and people saw him in Star Trek. But Fran Kos, Anna Hutchinson, Jesse Williams, Richard Jenkins, and Bradley Whitford. It was directed by Drew Goddard, of course. Drew Goddard has gone on to become a very solid director in his own right. Of course, he's directed... a writer in his own right. He's directed Bad Times at the El Royale, which is another really good movie of his. But he also wrote Cloverfield, World War Z, The Martian, and Project Hail Mary. He also created the Daredevil series, and most recently he created the Caitlin Olsen ABC series, High Potential. But this is also co-written by Joss Whedon, who is going to have a much bigger success in the next couple of weeks with The Avengers coming up, which we'll get into that in a few weeks' time, which technically will be in a few days in this case. But yeah, overall, this is a really good movie. This is an incredibly fun film. It's a movie that works because of the sci-fi elements, the horror elements, and the comedy elements too. It's a really, really good movie. It's a very silly, fun film. It delivers everything you can ask for and then some. It does not pull punches. It goes in on everything that you want to see in a good satirical horror comedy, and it delivers everything you can ask for and then some. It's funny, it's scary, it's well done. Visually, it's impressive. For a $30 million budgeted film to look like this, they did a fantastic job with it. It's a really good film. Again, not much more you can really add to it than has already been said. The Cabin in the Woods, definitely worth checking it out. Seek that one out. So now let's get to the garbage of the weekend, and that is Guy Pearce starring in the Luc Besson-produced Lockout.
It's been a massive takeover on Space Prison MS-1. What we want is freedom, or we crash this prison.
It's falling out of the sky. We can send in one man. Snow.
I'm thrilled that you would think of me. Going to space, get inside the maximum security nut house. It's a dream vacation.
The control room's on the other side.
Really? Snow, what's going on? I'm almost there.
Lockout. Come on. It'll be fun. Rated PG-13. Starts April 13th.
Okay, first of all, PG-13. Dead on arrival right there. Second, the whole thing about, you know, we want $300 million, or we're going to crash this space prison. Okay, do it. Do you really think that? Do you really think that they think that do you really think that these prisoners are really that smart that they're going to be able to successfully crash this thing into the White House or something like that? No, they're a bunch of idiots. They're in prison, for God's sakes. That's the biggest problem with the movie here. This movie makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. You got a plot which has Guy Pearce as a man framed for a crime he didn't commit, who's offered his freedom in exchange for rescuing the president's daughter, played by Maggie Grace, from the orbital prison MS-1, which probably I should have thought about that before I made that joke before. Okay. Now it makes a little bit more sense why they would crash this into prison. So just regard that beginning I gave you there, because yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. But anyway, it's, you know, the guy's offered his freedom for rescuing the president's daughter from the orbital prison SS-1, which has been taken over by its inmates, led by Alex, played by Vincent Regan, and his psychic brother Heido, played by Joe Gilgun. You also have Lenny James and Peter Stormare. And this is based off, of course, Escape from New York and also Escape from L.A., which are far better movies that you could be watching besides this garbage, because this really is a steaming pile of garbage. This is a movie that is loud, obnoxious. The visuals are absolutely terrible. The acting is fine, I guess, but even then, we've seen this movie done much better in many other movies, not just with the Escape movies, but just much better movies in general. There's nothing about this movie that looks slick or cool. This is clearly a film that was sitting on a shelf for years, and unlike Cabin in the Woods, it was for what it was supposed to be, a bad movie that the studio knew it was bad, so they put it on the shelf, and then when they had nothing else to do, just say, put it out there, see if we can get anything out of it. And shockingly, nobody did. This is not a very good movie, and it really takes away from an overall really solid weekend overall. This is the dud of this weekend, no question about it. So, lockouts, just lock this one out of your existence.
Sorry, Jesus has my heart. I love Jesus too. Hey, give me some for Jesus.
Guys will be guys.
What is wrong with the men of this generation?
But on April 20th,
What do you call the 3 rings of marriage? Engagement ring, wedding ring, and the suffer ring.
when women get their playbook,
Act like a lady.
But think like a man.
oh, that's not good. The game is on.
This is war, gentlemen.
I don't go out with guys who don't open the door for me.
Really?
No, he didn't.
Think like a man.
Gotcha.
April 20th.
Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films that make up April 20th, 2012. And we're starting off, of course, with Think Like a Man. It follows 4 couples, the women partners being readers of Steve Harvey's best-selling book called Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman. When the men learn the women are hooked on Harvey's advice, they try to turn the tables on their mates. And this was right around the time when Steve Harvey's popularity was really coming into play, especially with his success on Family Feud. He had a talk show that came out the very same year. I mean, his career was kind of on a rebound after, you know, it got started back in the 90s with a couple of shows for ABC and, of course, the one he did for the WB, which ran for about 7 seasons. But, you know, like I've said before, I think it's really funny how the best romantic comedies that have come out as of around that time period that this movie was coming out was mostly centering around, you know, black people, African Americans. I mean, we talked about like Just Right, Jumping the Broom, Last Holiday, all really good movies overall. And this one is another one that just really works so well, mostly because of how great the cast is in this. You know, you got Gabrielle Union, Taraji P. Henson, Romany Malco, Megan Good, Jerry Ferrera, Michael Ealy, Regina Hall, Jennifer Lewis, Kevin Hart, Gary Owen, a really, really stacked cast in this movie. I mean, there's 3 things going for it right there, and the film actually is a whole lot better than you would believe. It's a mainstream movie, but it isn't a movie where, you know, it's your typical schlocky mainstream movie. Though this is probably one of the best romantic comedies I've seen since 500 Days of Summer. That's how good this movie was. Like, I love the way they took the self-help relationship book and actually made a good scripted comedy out of it. And they did a better job with a movie like this and something like, you know, He's Just Not That Into You, or what we're going to see in the next month with movies with What to Expect When You're Expecting, which is, trust me, a much, much worse movie than this film. This film actually tries. That one fails miserably. What makes this one so great is that you got a great cast involved in this. Like I said, these are all very, very good people in here. Honestly, I think Kevin Hart gets way too much exposure in the commercials for this, because like they promote him as like the big headliner of the movie, and he really isn't. Like, he's not in the movie that long, but for the times he's in there, he is really good. And but I thought it was kind of being way too overexposed when those previews were coming out. And I like how they use Steve Harvey in here. He keeps showing up, and it actually is very well done. He shows up every once in a while to explain some of the points of the characters talking on various TV screens. And it's not like it's not like he shows up every once in a while. He'll show up every couple of minutes, and only for a few seconds to give you kind of an idea of what his book tells you about the specific situation. I thought that was the best way they could honestly do that. You can also buy into the characters very well. You can easily relate to people like this. You know, the happily divorced guy, the guy who refuses to grow up, the player, the liar, the happily married guy. You've met somebody who has been that person in your life at some point. And again, great direction by Tim Story. You know, he stumbled a bit with the Fantastic Four movies, but you see what he's able to do with stuff like this in the same style that he used in Barbershop. I mean, you got good writers on here, Keith Merriman and David A. Merriman, who actually make a much better comedy than they did with Friends with Benefits from the previous year. There's only two things I really didn't like about this, and one of them is that they used the worst movie cliche you can use, the liar reveal. I really hated it, and I was really hoping they could find a way around it, but it's in here, and it sucks, but it just really felt like you could have done a whole lot better without having that in there, honestly. The only thing I could say about the movie that doesn't work is that it kind of ends abruptly. Like, Steve Harvey doesn't show up again to kind of wrap things up or anything. The movie just kind of stops. It's just like, I mean, it really just ends. It does lead to a really good, funny scene where you have to find main male characters in the movie in a basketball game with real-life basketball players, which, if we're being honest, probably could have been something they could have thrown in the beginning, at earlier point in the movie, but not at the end of it. Like, again, very nitpicky things about the film in general, but I did overall really enjoy this movie. I think it is a very good film. It's the best romantic comedy I've seen since 500 Days of Summer. Almost everything about it works overall. A couple of bad things, but not enough to make me hate the movie overall. And trust me, this one is definitely much better compared to the sequel that we'll get to 2 years later, which feels like a typical Hangover knockoff, so take that for what you will. That's Think Like a Man, so let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Nicholas Sparks' latest adaptation, The Lucky One.
I just found it. Like I was meant to. Got yourself a guardian angel.
Can I help you?
You got a great laugh, you know that? I think there's something that I've been meaning to tell you. I found your fiction.
Everything it happened for a reason.
Should be kissed every day, every hour, every minute.
The Lucky One, rated PG-13, starts April 20th.
Yeah, you should consider yourself the lucky one if you haven't had to sit through this movie, because, yeah, it's pretty bad. Zac Efron stars as Logan Tybalt, a U.S. Marine who finds a photograph of a young woman while serving in Iraq and carries it around as a good luck charm and later tracks down the woman, played by Taylor Schilling, with whom he begins a relationship. Insert typical Nicholas Sparks tropes here, and this one is definitely the worst of the Nicholas Sparks movies we've gotten to at this point. I mean, this one is about as standard and as generic as you can get, and it really, really suffers. I like Zac Efron, I like Taylor Schilling, I like Blythe Danner, but man, they are completely wasted in this movie. They are not engaging whatsoever, they're lackluster characters, and yeah, they are really, really terrible, and the scenarios that they put these people in, it's supposed to be like this serious event, but no, it's freaking hilariously bad. Like, this has one of the most "you've got to be kidding me" climaxes you'll ever see that takes place during like a thunderstorm, and it suddenly becomes a weather disaster movie. It's just kind of like, why is this even in here? What are we doing here? Like, it's the worst. It's the worst possible ending you could have for a movie like this. It's not interesting. It's not engaging. It's really, really stupid. Like, you will be laughing your ass off every time you see how this ends, because it's that bad. It is that terrible of an ending. Like, there's no reason for them to go down this pathway the way they go down here. But yeah, this movie is pretty freaking awful, man. I got nothing else for you. This is a pretty bad movie, The Lucky One. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here. That's Disney Nature's latest film, Chimpanzee.
Disney Nature invites you to a once-in-a-lifetime motion picture event. On April 20th, in the deepest reaches of Africa, experience a true-life adventure of danger, survival, and an unexpected friendship never caught on film before. Chimpanzee. See it opening week and help save chimpanzees. Rated G. Only in theaters April 20th.
Yes, you've never seen this story told before like this. Pay no attention to Mighty Joe Young or King Kong or Planet of the Apes. No. This is the first time we're dealing with this right here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, BS right there. But this is a nature documentary about a young common chimpanzee named Oscar who finds himself alone in the African forest until he's adopted by another chimpanzee who takes him in and treats him like his own child. This is narrated by Tim Allen, and it's about what you expect from a Disney nature documentary overall. It's a documentary where you look at it, and you can definitely see a lot of the same things that made stuff like Earth, and also, what was the other one they did recently? Oceans, and African Cats, pretty much on that same level in general. There's nothing about this that's really new or engaging overall, but it is what it is. It delivers on what it promises. There's nothing harmless about it. It's a harmless documentary, honestly. It's nothing, excuse me. It's nothing bad. It's nothing like offensive or anything. It's a type of movie you expect with for the kids out there on Earth Day, and to get a good history lesson out of it on how these monkeys live and all that. Like, I got nothing else for you in this one here. I mean, there's not really much more I could add to it, but yeah. Anyway, that is Chimpanzee for you.
Set a course for Adventure on April 27th. Set your sail. Standard, sir, or cruising? Hit the deck. Make some waves. And go on the 3D ride of a lifetime. The Pirates Band of Misfits in 3D and Real D3D. Rated PG in theaters April 27th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up April 27, 2012, and we start off with the first film we have here, the biggest new release of the weekend, The Pirates Band of Misfits, the latest feature from Orion Animation, and it follows a crew of amateur pirates under the direction of their ambitious but equally inexpert pirate captain, named Pirate Captain, voiced by Hugh Grant, who tries to plunder the ship so that the pirate captain can accomplish his dreams of winning the Pirate of the Year award, and outsmart his longtime rivals Black Bellamy, played by Jeremy Piven, and Cutlass Lass, played by Salma Hayek. After various failed raids on useless ships, including a plague boat, a nudist boat, and a ghost ship, that's literally something they do in the movie, they hijack the Beagle and encounter Charles Darwin, played by David Tennant, who informs that Polly, the supposed parrot of the pirate crew, is actually the last living dodo. The pirates go with Darwin and his trained chimpanzee Mr. Bobo to London to show Polly to the Royal Society. Their plan is a success, but the pirates, who are disguised as scientists, are unmasked by Queen Victoria, played by Imelda Staunton, who hates pirates. And Orion Animation has been on a hot streak for many, many years. The Wallace and Gromit shorts, Chicken Run, recently they had Arthur Christmas, and their only real bad film at that time was Flushed Away. But even then, there was some stuff in there that was good. I think their overall really bad movie doesn't come until later on down the road with Early Man. Like, to me, that's their worst film. It's mostly a lot of the same problems with the Pirates Band of Misfits, except this one is much better than that movie is. This one definitely ranks more with Flushed Away than Arthur Christmas. Not a bad movie by any means, but it's a lot of fun for kids and adults alike, but at the same time, it's not up to the level that we're used to seeing from Orion. I'll start off with the things I didn't like about it first. We'll try something different here. For one thing, a lot of the comedy bits were funny, but they weren't laugh-out-loud funny like we're used to seeing from Orion. Like, Arthur Christmas has moments in there that are just so damn funny, and just and moments that just come out of nowhere, like Hugh Laurie, you know, when Santa is basically telling him how he messed up the whole thing and let Arthur get out there to get this present out there. He's just like, over there, he's talking about all the equipment and this, and he's just so angry. He's just like, "Good night, Santa," and then all of a sudden he just goes like, like for some reason that makes me laugh every single time I watch that goddamn movie. But I think the problem with this particular film is that most of the jokes seem to be more entertaining to the British audiences than the American audiences. I mean, it's a movie that clearly is made for the homeland for Orion Animation. This one is. And Lasso, the story is very predictable. You can pretty much kind of figure out where it's going to go, everything that's going to come all the way to the end. There's no real surprises in this film whatsoever. But despite all that, there is a lot of stuff I really did like. I like the casting. Hugh Grant is so good as the pirate captain. Like, it's a character that we're not used to seeing in play. He's not the stuttering Brit like he is in some crappy comedies like, you know, Did You Hear About the Morgans? No, he's an actual character, and he's a great character. I will take this pirate captain over Jack Sparrow any day of the week. No question about it. David Tennant was really funny as Charles Darwin. He had some good one-liners in this. Imelda Staunton was really good as the villainous Queen Victoria. The animation is really good, especially translating over to 3D. This is a stop-motion movie, but they did a pretty good job of converting it into 3D, and you can see that they did put the time and effort into this, and it shows in many, many ways. And, all the characters are a lot of fun to watch. I love the character of Mr. Bobo, who's essentially the Gromit of the movie, because he doesn't talk, and instead of, Gromit just using his emotions and his handworks, this character has these cards that he uses to get dialogue out, and a lot of them can be really, really funny stuff. Like, I also like that the movie runs at a quick enough pace, and it doesn't feel like they're padding it out for any reason. Like, it's a movie that works really well. I did enjoy the movie. I just don't love it on the levels of some of Armand's other works. But compared to another animated movie that came out that year that was far more successful in the Lorax, this is a massive upgrade compared to that pile of garbage. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it's a good movie. It's not one of Armand's best, but it's still one that's worth checking out. It definitely is a very underrated movie, since it wasn't a big hit when it came out in the States, but it has gone on to have somewhat of a following, I would like to think, but if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed by this one at all. But you will be disappointed by our next movie, as I was when I came out of the 5-year engagement.
Have you two picked a date yet?
Within the year.
Tom and Violet are perfect for each other.
Of course, the men will wear yarmulkes.
We don't have a yarmulke.
It's a mad Jewish troll. If only they can make it to the altar.
Look at them, they're all puffy and stupid. Come on, this is your wedding. You only get a few of these.
On April 27th.
We're all right, it's you and me. We can handle anything.
Oh, it's a fire hydrant.
From the producer of Bridesmaids.
This engagement party is a time to explore Tom's past. Jenny Newman, Greta Kay, Anna Pena, Lizzie Gray, this Korean, that Korean, and Lizzie Gray again.
Okay, that's enough.
The 5-year engagement. Rated R.
Oh, sweet mother of God, this one was a disaster. Like, I could not believe how bad this movie really was going to be. It has a funny concept overall, and there are parts where it does work overall, but there's a lot of things that are very wrong with it that we're going to get into with this review here. But exactly 1 year after Tom Solomon, played by Jason Segel, meets Violet Barnes, played by Emily Blunt, he surprises her with a ring. By all accounts, Tom and Violet are destined for their happily ever after. However, the engaged couple just keep getting tripped up on their long way down the aisle. And like I said, I had a lot of high anticipation because of Jason Segel and the director Nicholas Stoller, who made one of my favorite romantic comedies ever made, that is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And Judd Apatow, this was back when he could do no wrong, honestly. I mean, every movie that he was involved in as a director or a producer, for the most part, was very successful and very good. And it has a great cast behind it. Chris Pratt's also in here. Alison Brie. You see David Paymer in there. Kevin Hart has a role in here. Mindy Kaling. A lot of really, really funny people in this movie. And yet, I came out of it going like, this movie is fucking awful. Like, the first half was really good. And the ending works. But it's that stuff in the second half alone that just... I'll get to that in just a second here. But everything in between those two, the things I liked about it, were just so awful and painful, and I can't believe I actually get to use this saying, because I used to hear it all the time, from people who are just like, I did this while the movie was going on. When I was watching this for the first time, I literally was counting the ceiling tiles on on top of the theater. That's how bored and how upset I was about this fucking movie. And the theater seats, too. That was more entertaining than what was going on in that second half of the movie. And for the record, because this was back when we used to have the movie theater just down the road from me. Not the Cinemark that I've been going to for the last 12 years now. But no, this was the old theater I went to. There was 3,400 tiles on the ceiling and 207 theater seats. Stadium seats too, so that's this was when stadium seating was becoming the norm at movie theaters. I mean, that's how bad the second act was, and it is rough. There's so many points in this movie that make no sense whatsoever. You got the subplot of Tom going all gentle Ben on everybody. Chris Parnell's character who likes to make inappropriate sweaters, and most of all, the awkward comedy that is on the level of a bad TV commercial. I cannot stand that stuff, and that was in this movie, and the second half alone made me hate this movie so much. And just when I couldn't think it gets any worse, they have to throw in a possible cheating for both of the main characters. And at this point, I'm just kind of like, fuck you, movie, just fuck you, because I'm so sick and tired of this in every single movie. The liar reveal, the big misunderstanding and the liar reveal thing. It's just kind of like, But here it was worse. This was the worst thing that could happen. This couple was already on the break of breaking up at this point. So why do we gotta throw this in there? Why? Like, why do we have to be this stupid? Like they did do it in the way better thing, like a man or forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's a stupid plot point, and again, bad awkward comedy. Like the whole thing with Jason Segel's character. There's a part where just scream out sriracha sauce as somebody's getting it squirted into their face. It's just like, because that's funny, right? No, it's not. Not a bit of this movie is funny in that second half. The second half of this movie is the killer in this movie. Like this thing, the first half is like it's like watching a horror movie. The first half, you're coming up to this, this nice looking cabin in the woods. You bring your friends out, you got your beer, you're thinking you're gonna get some tail. It's amazing. It's the greatest time in the world. And then the second half of this movie comes around. And that's when the serial killer comes around and stabs you in the heart, and stabs you in the most bloody of ways. Like. That's what it feels like watching this movie. It feels like you're in a horror movie, and yeah, I wanted to love this movie. I really did. And I was hoping for something on the level of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It was a sweet movie, but it was a raunchy film at the same time. And I was so heartbroken that I didn't get that. This movie almost ruined the day I went to see this film. But luckily I saw the Pirates Bay and the Misfits later on, and it was just kind of like all is right with the world. But I couldn't believe that Segel and Stoller would do something like this since they did Sarah Marshall. They both worked on The Muppets. These are really good movies. These are talented filmmakers. Jason Segel is a terrific actor. He's done so many great stuff since this movie and before this movie and after this movie. Nick Stoller's made a lot of good stuff. I really was thinking, and I think this is a movie that is clearly a fluke because it's clear that both of these guys can make better movies. And I think this was a film that, it just wasn't working, and they just said, let's just go with it and see what happens, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I think it was the biggest disappointment I saw at that point in the year, and it was a hot contender for the worst movie I saw that year. That's how bad this movie was. It's the worst thing Judd Apatow has produced since year one and Drillbit Taylor. The first half and the end were good, but that second half was just so ear-rapingly bad, I wanted to kill myself. I'm not joking. I literally was just like, there's nothing good that can come from this right now. And I'm glad I didn't have anything to sharpen myself with, because I probably would have done it in the theater, honestly. Okay, I'm going a little too far there, but the bottom line here is that this is a terrible movie, man, that had so much promise in the beginning and in the end, but that second half, the shit they throw at you, because they're so lazy and they can't figure out that what they're doing isn't working, I'm getting bad memories of it already. So let's try to turn the tide around with our next movie. And how can you go wrong with a Jason Statham movie with a generic ass title and shit?
That girl does not leave this city.
The hell did you do, kid?
Close every exit out of Manhattan.
Are you crazy?
All we want is the girl, Luke.
How you doing with me?
You broke his trachea.
I didn't know a trachea could break.
Safe, rated R. In theaters April 27th.
Yes, in the very same year that we got the equally simple title of Gone, we have a movie that's just on that same level as Gone, except maybe a little bit better, but that's not saying much. Jason Statham stars as Luke Wright, an ex-cop and former cage fighter who winds up protecting a gifted child by being chased by the Russian mafia. You also have Chris Sarandon, Robert John Burke, and James Hong among them. And if Chris Sarandon is your second biggest star behind Jason Statham, maybe you should realize that this is probably meant to be a straight-to-DVD movie, because that's exactly what this thing feels like. This is a boring-ass film. It's a generic action film that we've seen done to death on so many other occasions, done much better, and nowhere near as ridiculously stupid as this. Like, this is pushing it to another level of stupidity. I mean, I get it. Jason Statham can usually make these type of action movies fun. I mean, recently, we've had stuff like A Working Man and The Beekeeper. Those were fun movies. But this is just generic territory here. I mean, he's made some good action movies with Lionsgate before. The Crank films. War, I thought, was pretty good. Even something like The Mechanic was kind of fun. But those were better made films than this. And the biggest problem with the movie is that it's been done to death before, man. Like, we've seen everything that is going on in this movie in other movies that have been done so much better, so much more cleverly, so much more funner. Like, this isn't fun at all. This is directed by Bo Ziakin, who is a good director. Remember, this is the guy that made Remember the Titans. This is the guy that made, A Price Above Rubies and Fresh. This is a really good director, and he's relegating himself to garbage like this. This is a lousy film, a generic film that completely wastes the talents of George Clooney. This movie probably could have gotten better if George Clooney was involved in it somehow, but no, Jason Statham's done a whole lot better than this. Like, he deserves better than garbage like this. Like I said at the beginning, this is the type of movie you find at Walmart. They put it with the new releases for a couple months as like a movie that you should see, but it's a movie that was made direct to DVD, and then sooner or later it's going to end up at your local Dollar Tree for $1.25 in that bin of movies that you find not even near the books or anything, and it's like a random aisle next to like the candy and all that. Because let's be honest, that's where you find most of your DVDs at a Dollar Tree or Dollar General, but you get the idea. The movie's pretty bad, but hey, how about some more crap to end the month of April off here? Here's another bad movie, The Raven.
Writing has become the inspiration for an actual killer.
Edgar Allan Poe created countless tales of murder.
You may be uniquely qualified to cast light on our killer. Are you up to the task, Mr. Poe?
And now, a madman is determined.
He's gonna strike again.
They're going to bring every one of them to life.
I'm running out of time. I'll send you to hell!
The Raven, rated R.
Pay no attention to the fact that we had a Sherlock Holmes movie that came out 3 years ago, and the sequel just came out a few months before that. This has no reason to be compared to that movie, and yeah, there's a lot of reason to be compared to that movie. Sherlock Holmes was a big success a couple years ago, taking a classic literary character and modernizing it in a Guy Ritchie film. So a studio is clearly going to look at that and say, we can do the exact same thing, but we'll one-up them because we won't just have a character from a book series. We'll have an author become the main part of the story. Be the main focus of the storyline here. Please greenlit this movie. We're not crazy. You're the one that's crazy. But anyway, I'm sorry for that. Set in 1849 is a fictionalized account detailing the last days of Edgar Allan Poe's life, in which the poet and the author help the police pursue a serial killer whose murder mirrors those in the stories. While the plot of the film is fictional, the writer based it on some accounts of real situations surrounding Edgar Allan Poe's mysterious death. Poe is said to have repeatedly called out the name Reynolds on the night before his death, though it's unclear to who he was referring to. You also have Alice Eve, Brendan Gleeson, and Luke Evans involved in this. It's directed by James McTeague, who gave us V for Vendetta, and that's probably more of a fluke than a really good director overall, because V for Vendetta was great, but then he followed it up with Ninja Assassin, and yeah, that one wasn't that great overall, and neither is this film, honestly. I mean, it's a movie that has some promise to it, but it falls into, you can't look at this and not just think to yourself, wow, relatively media saw the success of Sherlock Holmes and said, we want to do a film like that too, because that's all I kept thinking of when I watched this movie. I mean, there's a potential for a good movie here, but it's just not there with this film. It's a lousy film. John Cusack's trying his best to hold it together in this movie. I mean, he's one of the best things about it, honestly, but it's just not a good film overall. It's just kind of a lazy film. The mystery is not that engaging. It's not really that surprising whatsoever who the bad guy is. I mean, you can pretty much figure it out almost immediately, and it's just, there's no fun factor to it, man. There's no fun factor to it. It takes itself way too seriously. It doesn't look good. I mean, it's a lousy film. It's a lazy idea. Potential was there early on, but it just never sticks with me. It's just a terrible movie. Yeah, avoid The Raven like the plague. So I guess you could say the best movie to see this weekend, honestly, was The Pirates, the Band of Misfits. And then again, it's not hard to see why, because Arbin usually does no wrong.